Hi, everybody. Welcome to the red carpet. We're about to start the Hebsy on Sports podcast, number 232, in just a couple of minutes. But since we've got you here now, myself and Mike, we're going to invite you to be a part of the show, interactive. So if you've got questions, comments, or whatever, pretend it's a phone-in show, but you can't phone in. And articulate that, text it and send it to us. And as the show's going on, perhaps there's something that I or Mike are saying that you vehemently disagree with or want to add something to. Go right ahead. Gives the show some texture, gives the show some depth. Doesn't make it all about me and Mike and what we think.
It's good to get different perspectives.
And it's good to be reactionary too, I think, Mike. Because, it's possible that there's things that I may have not thought of at all, nor you. Where an astute viewer, listener, goes, wait a minute, they missed the whole point here. What about? And we've got some storytelling too. I got a good racetrack story to tell because of this Kentucky Derby thing. Your horse has been disqualified. You're banned. Okay, you can come back.
All right. See, I don't have that update. I was surprised to learn that if you disqualify a horse, the betting doesn't change. It doesn't change any betting payouts or anything like that.
Yeah, no kidding. Can you imagine having the horse that was declared the winner? You would bet the horse that day. You didn't cash your ticket.
Right.
And then 48 hours later, it's like, where do I go? I got the winning horse. Well, you didn't cross the finish line first, and we weren't going to have you wait around for 2 days.
All right, I'm just going to send a tweet to you so you can get this out before we
you just
rock
did?
and roll. No, I'm composing it right now.
So today's show, what do we got today? Let me see. Update on Otis the cat. Story about Joe, a neighbor of mine from Little Italy, the biggest Leaf fan in the world. Okay? Don't fuck me around with the fucking Leafs are going to win the cup this year. Okay?
Every year.
Right now. That's Joe from Little Italy. Him and all the neighbors, they're all diehard Leaf fans. They think they know hockey too, these dudes, right? I don't know hockey. What are you talking about? Get Foligno in there, punch him in the nose. Okay? You won't have any problems there. Get Domi back here, okay? Whack a couple of heads. So we'll talk about that. And the Leafs Habs series, which is like next week, like the next podcast we do, Mike, we'll be talking about game 1 of the Toronto-Montreal series.
Wow.
Let's go already. There's 2 new shows, one on TSN, one on Sportsnet. Okay. One is is hosted by a black woman, and one is hosted by a white man. One is more socially conscious, women's rights, younger, women-oriented show.
Sure.
And one's, more for guy, a little more fun, a little lighthearted, 40-yard dash in an underground parking garage, Elliot Friedman's Wild Side, stuff like that. But neither one's going to be on TV. Both digital only.
Wow.
For now. Talk about that. Talk about the BlueJays. Oh, my God. Late inning thunder again from this team, eh? And this battle that's brewing down in the minors between Manoah and Pearson, 2 up-and-comers, but which one's going to be better? It's been a while since I've had this, Mike, where you got 2 players supposedly of similar ability, but one's been hyped more than the other one because of their draft position or whatever. And now you got a battle going on. Think of the great pitching duos and think maybe sooner than later, it's Nate Pearson and Alek Manoah, who are 1-2 or 2-1 or 1-1A in Buffalo right now, which is really Trenton, New Jersey, but that's another story. Talk about the Raptors. Bye-bye, Raptors. Bye-bye. What a forgettable year. Get into some golf, some tennis. The top earners in the world of sport, Mike. Top 10 earners. This includes salary, endorsement, business ventures, everything. I'll give you the top 10. Let's think about that. Who do you think you'd like?
Okay.
And some Kentucky Derby Preakness story of the original doped horse that was disqualified. That whoever bet on the horse that day at the Kentucky Derby won tons of money and didn't have to give it back. That's the key. When they found out their horse had been disqualified and placed last, they still had the dough.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Anyway, talk about all that stuff. So you want to get going on this?
Yeah, I'm recording in 5, 4, 3,
The following podcast is brought to you by Crosswinds Golf and Country Club in Burlington, Ontario. Now, we may be the only jurisdiction in the world that doesn't allow golf, but it'll be worth the wait when the courses finally open and everybody can move around safely and enjoy this great game and the great outdoors. Is that a John Candy movie?
Yes.
Anyway. Nestled between Rattlesnake Point and Mount Nemo on the Niagara Escarpment, Crosswinds offers million-dollar views, fabulous golf, great banquet facilities, and much, much more. As soon as they get the green light from the government, Crosswinds will be ready to welcome you with open arms. In fact, I'd like to right now invite the Premier himself out to Crosswinds. There's not going to be any pops after the match, not going to be any of that stuff at all. Just freedom, fresh air, social distancing, everything you need. Come on, Rob. Come on. I'll look after the group. Bring your cronies. See what you've been missing. Come to Crosswinds. Maybe that'll change his mind. It's worth a shot. Go to crosswindsgolf.com. Dream of the day you'll be playing this outstanding golf course. We'll be golfing any day now. Now let's start the podcast. Live from Toronto, it's Hebsy on Sports, episode number 232. Hey, everybody, I'm Mark Hebscher. Welcome to our podcast. It's me and Toronto Mike. Today on the show, the Maple Leafs get the Canadiens for the first time since 1979. I covered that series. One of my early days in radio. Wow. Microphone, tape recorder, down to the dressing rooms, get the interviews, baby. 1979. They swept us. They swept us the year before, too. We haven't won a playoff game against them since 1967 when we won the Cup. Let's go.
Wow.
Oh, it's not till next week? Can't wait to renew hostilities. Meanwhile, the American NHL teams, they get to begin their postseason this weekend. So let the playoffs and the playoff pools begin. Mike, are you in a playoff pool?
Not this year.
Should be, baby. Should be. And the problem with that is that I think what's going to happen is a lot of them are going to take place on Monday, even though a bunch of games will have been played already and teams will have points and 2-0 series leads maybe. The Canadian ones don't begin till next week. So the playoff pools, I think mine anyway, is going to be like Monday. Okay. How about the Raptors? Like, what a disappointing season. Not making the playoffs for the first time in 8 years. Terrible season, playing out the string, no place to call home. What's next for this team? Anybody want to lay odds that the BlueJays make it into the postseason again this year? What a squad. A sweep of Atlanta has them nipping at Boston's heels atop the AL East, and they're doing it without, what's his name? The guy with the quad problem, the center fielder we signed in free agency. All will be forgotten, George, when you come back 100% healthy. I'm just not sure there's going to be room in the lineup for you, Valley.
On the bench.
Some sports media chatter as Sportsnet runs a segment that was so bad, the entire Twitterverse, people with millions of followers, gave it the universal thumbs down.
Right.
A couple of brand new shows are coming, one hosted by a white man, one hosted by a black woman. Neither show can be seen on regular television, digital only. This is the new way to distribute sports content, isn't it, Mike?
Absolutely. This is the future.
Podcasting, streaming, put it on YouTube, put it on the website. When you need to wait around for a certain time to watch it on the television. That's for live sporting events. That's really what it's for now. Television. Right. That's why people are watching TV, for live sports. Streaming the live sports. Don't get me started with the Sportsnet Life coach because I'm going to kick the crap out of him too. My God. Minor League Baseball wants to use the Homerun Derby to decide games that are tied after regulation. Hey, hockey's got the shootout. Soccer's got the shootout. Why not home run hitting contest? What the hell? What do you think of that? Golf, tennis, and the story of two horses that were disqualified in the Kentucky Derby, but still got to run in the Preakness. How's things in New Toronto there, Toronto? Should I call you New Toronto Mike?
That suggests there's a classic Toronto Mike out there. But
well, is there a classic Toronto Mike?
Yeah,
Mike Palmetier, would he have been the classic Toronto Mike?
Hey, I'd be honored to be in the same category.
Mike Myers.
Mike Myers.
Hey,
sure.
Toronto Mike. Like thinking Hollywood when he's walking down the street. He's got his Leaf jersey on.
That's right.
They go, hey, Toronto Mike.
Remember, he named his dogs. His dog's name was Borchevsky, I think, and he might have had another one named Gilmore. I think he had a couple of dogs. He's a big fan. Hey, I love the fact summer's arrived. Like, have you been outside doing your any bike rides or walks or anything? Oh, you always walk anyway, but like I got out there and enjoyed the sunshine?
Very much so. I've also been providing some civil disobedience by playing sports outdoors when I'm not supposed to be playing sports outdoors. And in fact, I have a match this afternoon of pickleball.
Undisclosed location.
Undisclosed location. Absolutely. Because the last thing I need is for, the hoods to come around the corner. We're not bothering anybody.
Right.
There's no homes nearby. There's nobody to complain about any noise. Not that pickleball is a noisy sport.
Right.
But I saw people across the street throwing a ball around, throwing a Frisbee around. Shit. So I don't know what you can and can't do. I know that the facilities are closed, but I'm taking my chances.
No, good for you.
That's later today.
Now go ahead.
On the way to, like, on my walks or whatever, and I think I mentioned this last week. I did. After we went off the air, I put the cat up for adoption. Like Otis, I got all of his stuff together, all of it.
Right.
He got it all gathered up, and they, his new mom and dad came and picked it up. They live 4 doors away, but not 4 doors like if you imagine like houses right next to each other. So the equivalent of, let's say, 7 doors down. You know what I mean? Like the few hundred feet down the block.
I can imagine this. Yes.
Not right next door, not 2 doors, but a few hundred feet down. But for a cat, that's not much.
Right.
So anyway, that's where Otis lives now. And for the first few days after he was gone, I was like, I wonder how things are going with Otis. And I said, no, come on, you got to detach yourself from this cat. And about 6 days go by. I haven't seen the cat. He hasn't come by. I intentionally louvered the Venetian blinds so that he couldn't look inside and see. But I mean, I could see out and whatever, but he couldn't see inside. So that would discourage him from coming around the window that he maybe used to come around.
Sure.
When he came in, right? And so about 5 days goes by, and I've always, when I leave my house, I always walk right or I go straight. I never go to the left. That's Otis's direction. I'm going to give him his space. But I decided one day, I wonder how Otis is doing. So I go walking up, and of course, halfway up the sidewalk, I see him on the porch of his new house. So what do I do? Okay, so I come a little closer. So I'm maybe 20 feet from where he is. I'm on the sidewalk, and he's looking right at me. He knows it's me. And I'm going to look at him, and we have a little stare off, and I go like this. He just kind of perks up, and he goes, meow.
Aww.
But he doesn't get up to come towards me or anything like that. He's still like lying there.
Right.
So like, I can't do this all the time to myself. He's not going to come back. He recognized me, but he's not coming over or anything like that. He didn't see the error in his ways.
I think
he's a cat.
The next piece of nonfiction you write should be the story of you and Otis.
Yeah.
Like
so anyway, he's
story.
A neighbor, and we're cordial, but there's no going back.
No, you can't go home again. Now, before I want to hear about this. Is it this Joe? Joe from Italy. But before you do that, just a real quick fun fact for you, which is that you called our premier Rob in the introduction.
Oh, geez, did I? The other drug dealer, Doug. Damn. My cousin used to buy hash from these guys.
But to be specific,
I know exactly where.
But he was buying hash
everywhere where they used to do their business. Everything.
But it was Randy and Doug, right, that were dealing the hash. Like, I don't think Rob dealt the hash.
No, Rob wasn't.
Right, Randy and Doug were doing that.
Yeah, Rob was doing other stuff.
In Toby.
Yeah, they were hash dealers, and they had good hash. Like, I mean, they were known outside of their own hood. They could lay their hands on some really good gold stamped schmear.
Okay.
Nepalese, and with opium running through it. talking about some good shit.
This is that mall kind of off Royal York, right? Like
yeah,
I know where you're talking about.
Yeah, there's another place off Scarlet Road that they anyway. That's a lot. Anyway, son of a bitch, if he doesn't let us play golf soon, I'm gonna anyway. So I got to tell you, so I live in Little Italy. So Little Italy, for those who don't know, Little Italy, that is like Johnny Lombardi way, the headquarters. Johnny Lombardi owned a station. He's dead now. Chin Radio. And Chin Radio in Toronto, with multicultural radio, any possible language that could be spoken, you had airtime on Chin. And he used to run a picnic every year, okay, with the Miss Chin Bikini contest that was on Toronto Island. That was fantastic. I mean, I'm telling you, that women loved it, men loved it. It was a hoot. If you looked at it now, you go, oh my God, I cannot believe the way women were treated. Not at all.
Right.
You know, I went down there with female friends, whatever, a bunch of people. It was great. It was fun. And I had friends of mine who were like, you know, I think if I get in, I wouldn't mind entering the Miss Chin Bikini contest. We're like, yeah, go for it. It was a badge of honor.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, I live in Little Italy, and which is around, you know, Clinton and College. So it's between Bathurst and Ossington.
Mm-hmm.
And in the neighborhood are these real, like these are Italian guys. They've been living here their whole life. You know what I'm talking about? Joe, Frank, Dominic, you know these guys.
Like, I watch Sopranos. I know these guys.
With the fucking Leafs. So whenever they see me, they never ask me about the Raptors. Who gives a shit about that stuff? Who cares? You know, baseball's just slow, boring, Chris, except for Joe DiMaggio. But the Leafs, you know, they don't know anything else. Just the Leafs and all the Italian players in the NHL too.
Right. Phil Esposito, all these guys, of course.
Anyway, they're such characters. It's so much fun. So I go walking every day and I see them, you know, sometimes they're all together having a coffee outside. Of course, they're standing or leaning against the building. They're gesticulating. But it's, hey, Mark. So, hey, Mark. So he sees me the other day. Hey, Mark, hey, come over here. Come here. Come over here. Right? You know Dominic, you know Frank, you know Jose, you know Giuseppe, you know these guys. Tony over there, you know. Tell us, what the hell is going to happen with that? Are they going to beat the shit out of the Habs? Or what is it? What's going to happen? Like, I know. I go, well, I think, you know, in six games, oh, Christ, I'm not going to be able to handle it crying out loud. You know, the wife's going to drive me nuts, for fuck's sakes. This is the worst thing. You know, such characters, but it's just, you know, they don't, nothing else. How's the family? They don't care. Hey, the Leafs.
I know these guys. But I think a lot of them, I used to work at the Galleria Mall, and I think there's an equivalent in the Portuguese community. Same thing though.
Oh, for sure.
But
I'm just saying these particular guys.
Yeah, these are
and look,
the
they
old
recognize
Italian
me
guys.
from TV, or they've been listening for years, or whatever. They're fans, but they're neighbors too. It's like, you know.
Of course, these guys, and they're always the homers, right? Like every year, the Leafs are going to win the cup. I remember this too. It didn't matter.
Look, you're born and raised here. And they don't know. They couldn't tell you one player for the Vegas Golden Knights, or they don't know. Right? It's Leafs,
right?
But I'm just waiting for the day. It's like, who's there? Mark. I want to ask you a couple of questions. I got a couple of bets to make here before. You know, should I put the money on the Leafs? You got any inside information for me?
Hey, did you give him a prediction? Like, because
I Leafs in 6.
You said, okay, because I'm feeling Leafs in 5.
Oh,
just throwing it. I'm just throwing it out there. You guys can show I'm really wrong later, but I feel Leafs in 5.
Okay, so in honor of and they're listening. I explained to them what a podcast was, and I actually hooked them all up with the podcast. I said, "Look, I'll talk about you guys." And so I literally took each one of their phones and, like, here you go. You're going to get an alert. You know.
Okay, before we get into the Leaf stuff real quick, let's just quickly say hi to Daniel and Mike Kerr and Gary Faber and Brian and Gene and Gordon, all enjoying the show live on. I got to let those who are missing out that you can hear this live and watch it live. Fridays at 9:20 a.m. Eastern, we start. And you go to Hebsy's YouTube page, so follow that, and that's where you get the alerts that we're live. And we tweet the link, too. At about 9:20 a.m. every Friday.
I think I forgot to tweet.
Oh, see, yeah, get that always brings the crowd when you tweet it. So Hebsy's going to do that right now. But if you follow, yes, you should follow Hebsy Man, but also follow Toronto Mike, because he doesn't forget to tweet the link. So, and KM says the Leafs are going to sweep. I wanted to go with sweep, and then I thought that was like, give them 1, like they might take 1. So I'm going Leafs in 5, But I will say, if by some chance the Habs, and I know you're going to talk about this now, but if the Habs do upset us, I don't know. This is going to be, for the Leafs, the fragile mentality and psychology of the Leafs fan, that's going to be a devastating blow. That's very different than losing to the Columbus last year in that play-in and stuff. That'll be very different. I think it'll be devastating.
Canadiens fans are a little bit fragile as well.
But I think they know they're the underdog, so I think they've all braced themselves. Like, I feel like we are all like walking with a little swagger because we should win this series. Like every analyst and
look, says. We've all been waiting for this, been saying it all along. Let's get Montreal again. Doesn't begin until next Thursday. That means they're playing tonight, the Leafs. So they got 5 full days off before hosting the Habs. So Thursday and Saturday in Toronto. Mm-hmm. By the way, someone had said, "How do you spell Toronto?" right? It's Toronto. It sounds like Toronto. CHRONO. Toronto.
Right.
I'm from Toronto. Toronto goal. Toronto. We're from here. But it's a Toronto.
Toronto.
Right? Toronto.
Yeah. Toronto. Yeah.
Anyway, the first 2 games are here in Toronto next Thursday and Saturday. Back to Montreal. Back-to-back nights. The May 2-4 holiday Monday. And then the 25th. And then it could be over by then, but if not, Game 5 in Toronto on Thursday the 27th. Game 6 in Montreal on Saturday the 29th. Oh, my God. And then Game 7, God forbid, in Toronto, Monday, May 31st. Jack Campbell will be your number 1 goalie for the Leafs. Carey Price, haven't seen him in action. Don't know what he's like. Who knows? Would be a big surprise if he started. I think Jake Allen's going to get the start for Montreal. And maybe Price, I don't know. Maybe they ease him back in. Maybe Allen plays great. Maybe the Habs upset the Leafs. Then what?
Yeah, such a mismatch on paper. Like from what I've seen in the regular season.
Plus, don't you want to see Austin Matthews in the playoffs? Like 5 goals. Like really, this could be his. I mean, this could be it. 2 rounds of the playoffs, scoring like a madman, leads the NHL in scoring anyway. Mm-hmm. What are the Habs going to do? All right, let's find a way to stop Austin Matthews.
Right.
Come on, that's like what's his name, Paul Maurice saying, "Oh yeah, we're not going to let Connor McDavid beat us."
Right.
Okay, if you say so.
Right.
So I say Leafs in 6. What do you say, Mike?
Yeah, Leafs in 5. Write it down. Just we're too much. Even if you did, I don't know, throw a blanket over Matthews or something and Martin, like there's enough depth on this team that Leafs are just so vastly superior to this Habs team.
Hyman.
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about him. He's got lots of time. He's easing back in, a little bit of contact. He's got 5 days. He'll be out there. Remember what he's like? He's going to drive them crazy, man. He's going to drive those Montreal defensemen nuts. Him and Foligno. And, I like the way Mikheyev also forechecks. Like, they just get their noses dirty, like this team. All right, so NHL playoffs, the Stanley Cup playoffs begin tomorrow. The Caps hosting the Bruins to begin their series. Then Sunday, we got a bunch of games. Penguins hosting the Islanders. The Golden Knights hosting the Wild. And the Lightning heading downstate to play the Florida Panthers. Have not seen any, I've seen maybe a couple of games.
Right.
In the States, but really, I don't know anybody. Even the guys on TSN and Sportsnet were saying, I can't give you too much about these. I haven't been watching the games. They're not either they're not available, or how can you watch, Leafs, Habs, or Ottawa or whatever, and keep your eye on all the American series. So it's kind of tough. And I'm finding out stuff myself. I'm not even going to make predictions on this series because I don't know enough.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not sure.
Hurricanes hosting Nashville.
Hey, did you watch any complete games that did not involve the
No.
Canadian teams? No.
And you got the St. Louis Blues traveling to Denver to play the Colorado Avalanche. This year's President's Trophy winners are the Colorado Avalanche. Did you know that?
I only learned it recently. Did you
know the top 4 teams this year in the NHL? Top 4 overall: Colorado, Lost Wages, Carolina, Florida. Leafs for 5th. Okay, top 4 teams: Colorado, Vegas, Carolina, Florida.
Yeah, those are all like big. Well, Colorado maybe a little bit big hockey hotbeds. Vegas, Carolina, Florida.
Yeah,
they deserve it.
But you have to look at the divisions that they're playing in.
Sure.
There wasn't much travel this year. You have to take those things into consideration, which means trying to figure out which Canadian team could be better than an American. Who knows?
Well, before you get to baseball, Mike is on your YouTube page, and he's wondering what happens when the Canadian team has to play an American team. Like, will there be fans? Will you be playing at home? Like, do we have any answers here?
No. We have none. The fans thing is interesting, and that's a great question, Mike, is because depending on what jurisdiction the game is in, for example, a game in Washington versus a game in Florida could, 100% capacity. Mm-hmm. So now Florida's got this huge advantage because their fans are going wild, 100% capacity, and you're playing a game in Carolina, let's say, where where it's 20% capacity, or in Massachusetts where it's 26% capacity. So that could be a difference. The other thing is, if let's say the Leafs or whoever the Canadian team is that gets through to the Final Four, mm-hmm. they're not going to be able to play their games in Canada,
right?
And certainly not with any crowds, which means that they're going to have a home base in the States. Like if I'm the Leafs, I'm going, give me Madison Square Garden. Like the Rangers aren't going to be playing.
Oh,
give
we'll
me
end
Madison
up
Square, although the Knicks will be, though, won't they? But give me an arena or Philadelphia. Give me an arena where we can have our home base, and that's where we play our home games.
It'll be Buffalo.
The only problem is you're allowing fans into the games. You can tell me Leaf fans from Canada won't be able to go to Philadelphia to watch their team play. It'll only be Leaf fans who live in the States. Am I right?
Well, you could theoretically fly. Like you can fly there.
Oh, that's right. Of course. What am I saying? Dark guy. Look, get Dark guy to go. Right?
I'm
face painted with a maple leaf, representing Canada.
Right.
For those of us who can't be there, Leaf fans.
He changed his name.
Habs? What if the Habs go to the Final Four and the Habs can't play in Quebec, right? And they got to pick a place. They say, all right, pick a place.
Yeah.
Where you want your home base to be. That's going to be your home arena for the last 2 rounds of the playoffs.
Yeah, well, what you'll end up having is the Leafs and the Jays playing in Buffalo.
Yeah. Meanwhile, while all this is going on, the Vancouver Canucks have to play out the string. Remember, they had COVID problems. They got like 4 games to go. All meaningless games.
Right. So
instead of the NHL compressing it or just saying, screw it, and starting the playoffs at the same time for everybody, they're waiting for the schedule to end.
Right.
So the games have been pushed out. They're afternoon games now featuring Vancouver. 1 against Edmonton, 3 against Calgary. Doesn't end till next week.
Right.
Then they can start the Canadian division
that's
playoffs.
The delay. Okay, that explains it. I was trying to figure out.
Which means all the American teams will have had 2 playoff games under their belt before the Canadian teams play their first.
That makes sense. I will say that there are a number of there's a number of Habs fans on your YouTube page, and they're all like sort of realists. I'd say they all kind of have braced themselves to be kind of beaten up here by the Leafs, so they're ready to lose this series.
They don't have high expectations.
No,
fans do.
Well, yeah, because we're a good team this year.
We are a good team this year. Okay, before we get to the Blue Jays, Twitter has been buzzing all week long, or at least for the last couple of days, about a segment on Wednesday's Hockey Night in Canada broadcast, which had Ron McLean and David Amber seeking the advice of the Sportsnet Life coach. Now, I know I've mentioned on a number of occasions when this campaign started, that of all the Sportsnet campaigns they've had, the 2 guys sitting in front of their laptops, the Blue Jay fans a few years ago, like some really dumb ones.
Right.
This one takes the cake.
Yes.
This Sportsnet Life coach. There's only one good one I like, is where he kind of wakes up and goes, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., how long have I been sleeping? That's the only good line of this entire campaign. And you know what I'm talking about. He's got the aquarium. He's doing the push-ups, the plant. There's so many of them. And it's a nebbish character, and it just doesn't do anything for me. It's basically a ripoff of Captain Obvious. It's sort of a Captain Obvious character for Sportsnet.
Like Captain Obvious.
Adam Seaborn for that suggestion. As soon as I read that, I went, yeah, it's smart. It's exactly right.
Captain Obvious meets the most interesting man in the world, maybe? I'm trying to...
Not even.
No, anyway. He was clever.
Anyway, Mike, I sent you, there was a tweet that was sent up by one of my followers, I guess our followers, that encapsulated this quite well.
So yeah, Mission 089 is the handle on Twitter. The precipitous decline of Hockey Night in Canada is a story that should get more coverage. Rogers took a crown jewel and turned it into the most vanilla, uninspiring boilerplate broadcast. It's especially bad in comparison to the top broadcasts of other pro sports. What a shame.
Beautifully written. I want to see more of those. This is what I look for on Twitter. Something that's really, it's clever, but it's succinct, it's to the point, and it's like, yeah. And in a lot of cases, I would love to hear the person say, that's nicely crafted. Mm-hmm. But to hear someone say that, like, if you're on a talk show and someone says, and they were to say that, exactly like that, with the emotion, you're like, you know what? Absolutely right. It was the Sportsnet Life coach being introduced by Ron McLean and David Amber in a terribly scripted, cringeworthy segment that just, my skin is crawling thinking about it now. Or to bring in an actor who plays the part of the Sportsnet Life coach, to bring him on live, right, in a segment to do this little shtick between periods, makes me, I'm sure Nick Kyprios and Doug McLean and Don Cherry and everybody that was like, what?
Right.
You got rid of us for this?
It's embarrassing, right? Like you mentioned cringe, where it's completely embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
But Hebsy, I think the mandate at Rogers when they started this whole thing with George Stroumboulopoulos hosting and everything was to basically destroy anything the CBC did. Like, it really seemed like we're going to rip up and tear up anything CBC and just make it Rogers. And I don't understand. Like, it seems very short-sighted. Like, and then we got a lot of crap out of that, and now it's just trying to fix all the shit it stirred up over the last few years. Yeah, that tweet succinctly says it better than I ever could, but they took the crown jewel and they shit all over it.
Thank you for that. What's his name? What's the name of the handle?
Stand by. I'm going to get this back. It's Mission 089.
Mission 089. There's a follow right there. Yeah, that was great. I love finding stuff like that because it means I don't have to work as hard. Somebody else articulated it. I'm just going to give them credit and repeat it to you. But it's beautiful. It's good writing.
One more thing here is that I like to watch the games. I'm going to be watching Thursday night when the Leafs play the Habs in the first game. I'm going to be watching. So the only place to get the game is that damn Hockey Night in Canada broadcast. So I'll be tuning in. But it's been so long since I've watched anything that happens between periods or before the puck drops. I'm literally there for the game.
Well, you're lucky you missed this. I felt sorry for Ron McLean. I felt sorry for David Amber. I'm sure that when they were approached with this, they both went, No, because this isn't real. We're journalists. Now we have to introduce a fake Sportsnet life coach to promote and pump up Sportsnet. Sportsnet Now. That's the other thing. I unsubscribed. I'm sick of Sportsnet and I can't stand them. I've unsubscribed.
Wait,
you've lost me now, Rogers. So, I don't need your freaking streaming with this.
So I missed that live, but I caught it on Twitter because, of course, who retweeted it? It has the massive.
Oh, Keith Olbermann.
Yes. Okay. So
he's got 1 million followers.
He's like, what the fuck? And he's right. And a lot of eyeballs who didn't catch the broadcast saw the cringe. So I just felt like secondhand embarrassment.
Hockey Night in Canada since 1952.
Right.
And this was a midweek bastardization of the show on a different network. Anyway.
Well, and there's nothing we can do. This is the part. There's nothing we can do. We're helpless.
Right. And there's programming on television now is completely different. Example, 2 new sports shows debuting this week. Kayla Gray has a show called The Shift, which can only be seen if you search the tsn.ca webpage and scroll halfway down the page.
Terrible website, too. Terrible website.
Yeah, awful. And Shawn McKenzie has The Show, which begins this Sunday, I believe, only available on YouTube. Not on the Sportsnet website, not on conventional television. Go to YouTube. I like this idea. I think it's great. Look, distribution is a whole different thing nowadays. It doesn't have to be on regular television. But Shawn's show looks to me like it's more of a fun, because Shawn McKenzie's been doing hockey for a few years now, right? So he's developed a personality within himself as a hockey broadcaster, right?
Right.
And he's been, I guess you'd say the younger generation of reporters, in that there's a lot of involvement. Like you see Shawn McKenzie, he's a runner, he's an athlete, he's, more of an embedded reporter, let's say, where you can get close to athletes and, stuff like that. Wink side reports, that type of thing. And so he's got a show called The Show. And it looks very different. So it looks more like a show that would be for men, for guys, for more hockey-oriented, kind of showing the personality of hockey broadcasters, players, that kind of thing.
But how do they
Kayla's show
decide?
is much more serious.
Okay. I got a couple of things to say, but I want to speak to Kayla's really quickly. Is it on YouTube that's embedded in the TSN, or is it like hosted on the TSN? No. Okay, because I'll just speak this as somebody who I feel like she's set up to fail here. You can't bury a digital show on the shittiest website on the planet and expect it to gain any traction. Like, it seems like they've given Kayla this thoughtful, progressive show, and they set it up so it simply cannot succeed. Am I crazy here?
Well, I don't know. I've only watched 15 minutes of the first show. The problem I found was, you're right, first of all, finding it, because I didn't see any. I mean, I see on the ads that they're running the promos on TSN, but it just says tsn.ca as on the logo there, and you have to sort of go, oh, it's because you're looking, when is it debut? Like, what time? And it's not 3 p.m. on Saturday or whatever. They're not going up. They're not putting it on television because nobody would watch it because they wouldn't put it up against the live broadcast. And we're not going to bury it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Wednesday like you do with some of those golf shows, right? Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Sure. It's
buried. Like no offense to Motoring. I love the show. I watched it. I know Brad Diamond very well. Watched it for 100 years. But Motoring was always on like 2 o'clock on a Tuesday. Repeated at 4 o'clock on a Thursday.
Right.
Repeated at 9 a.m. on a Saturday.
Sure, because those who are looking for that are going to seek it out and make sure they're there. Like that's very niche.
Right. Anyway, so distribution is an issue, but my issue was this. Okay, I found it. Like I go to tsn.ca. If you go to the main page, it's all hockey stuff and everything, and bar down, and then you have to scroll on this website. So literally, you got to scroll a fair bit down, and then there's Kayla. Okay, there's the show. You click on, and the first 45 seconds are commercials that you can't get out of.
Right.
Like it's 15, it's a 15, a 15, and a 15. So you got to sit through 45 seconds. Okay, I want to sit through. I'm not really paying that much attention to the ads. I can't skip through. All right. And now I'm watching the show. Okay. It's for women. It's about women's sports. I wasn't aware that the WNBA and the NWSL seasons both begin this weekend, which is why they launched the show now. It's for women's sports, from what I can tell.
Okay.
So I'm not in their demographic. And I'm looking forward to checking out Shawn McKenzie's show on Sunday. It's live on YouTube. I may not catch it live. Not live, you know what I mean? It first airs on YouTube Sunday afternoon. Once it's on, I'm sure you can watch it anytime, right?
Andrew Ward on the YouTube page just mentioned Quibi. You remember Quibi?
No, I never saw it. I don't know what.
I never saw it either. But of course, I remember I think Kayla might have been involved, but there was some TSN.
Yeah, she was. She was supposed to be a morning sportscaster.
Well, we have, there's far more people watching us on YouTube right now than ever saw Quibi in this country. And it died a very expensive. I don't think it was that expensive for TSN, but it was expensive for the Americans who put it on. But I think Katzenberg was involved. There's some big names with deep pockets involved, but it bled money. Right. It's gone. And Andrew Ward says this Kayla Gray show is giving him Quibi vibes.
Well, look, I hope not. But I mean, you're given a show. By the way, the producer of the show was Jay and Dan's producer who got fired. Brandon, remember we talked about him. I can't think of his last name now. But he was the one who pitched this idea to TSN. Lost it, right?
But why not give it a real slot on the? I'm just curious how they decide what gets buried on the website and what gets. It just seems. I wonder. Okay.
I mean, think about it. What produced shows like Off the Record's not on the air anymore on TSN? What locally or TSN produced shows are airing on TSN? Okay, except for Sports Center and the live broadcast.
Yeah, and Hockey
show.
Central and hockey, whatever. Yeah.
There's no
Tino Retta
that's
thing.
hockey, right? That's hockey, right? But no, you know what I mean. Those are, but the golf show, and that's it. There's no tennis show that they produce at TSN. There's no boxing show. There's no soccer show. There's no, right?
Okay.
But
I just want to say, because it sounds like we're crapping all over Kayla. I just think
no.
Like it might not be your cup of tea because we don't have a Toronto team in the WNBA or
the NWS.
Right.
That's right, and that's why. I won't be watching this weekend.
Right. It's like it's actually got nothing to do with gender. It's got to do with the fact we don't have a home team to root for here or whatever, more anything. But the lack of interest means that we might not be for us. But it is something like positive that TSN actually is producing this show, because this is it's a good idea to have this show. I have a couple of daughters, and I like the idea that Kayla Gray is hosting a show like this. It doesn't mean I will necessarily seek it out on tsn.ca, but I still give them kudos. Right. Kudos to TSN for doing it.
You're watching it.
I just hope they don't set it up to fail, because if it should have an opportunity to succeed.
Well, my only concern is, like you say, you're talking about two leagues of which there's no Canadian content. There may be some players. Obviously, there are players in the WNBA. Kia Nurse, one of the big stars. Right. But the league itself, I doubt very seriously you could go around and anybody would know any of the players or teams or any history of the league, the WNBA, and the NWSL. So to me, it's a pretty narrow focus there. But anyway, let's see what happens. It's only the first show.
Sure.
How about those Blue Jays, to quote Fergie Oliver? A clean sweep of Atlanta thanks to a run in the 8th to tie it, and 4 more in the 9th to smash it open. 8-4 win over Atlanta. Sweep, 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 sweep. I love the way this team doesn't quit, Mike. They looked dead in the very first inning. Ross Stripling got himself into a pickle. Immediately, people were saying, DFA this guy. This is what happens in the middle of the first inning. Oh, God, he's another Tanner Roark. Take it easy. Relax. Gave up a couple runs in the first, and then he settled down. He settled right down. And the Jays fought back to take the lead, and then they lost the lead when Tim Meza gave up a 2-run homer to Dansby Swanson in the sixth. Greatest name in baseball. Dansby Swanson from Coe College.
Yeah, should be playing like polo.
Dansby?
Polo with the Prince William or something.
Right. But no problem. We're down a run. Late inning thunder once again from the Blue Jays. Kevin Biggio doubles home the tying run in the eighth, and then boom, boom, out go the lights for the Braves. Bo Bichette with a 2-run double in the ninth. Biggio with another RBI double. 2 doubles and 2 walks for Biggio on the night. And by the way, one of the nicest plays he made, didn't even get credit for it. He threw out Ronald Acuna Jr. at first base. Now, Acuna Jr. was called safe initially, but on the replay, they showed that he had missed the bag and tripped and looked like he hurt himself really badly. He came off the field eventually, but it looked like, oh, shit, broke his ankle or something like that. It looked bad. And then the inning was over on the appeal because they went, immediately the Jays went to the video and it was overturned, and that was the third out of the inning. I'm going, well, that was a hell of a play by Kevin Biggio to get him then, wasn't it? Because he had to come in and Acuna can run, and it was a bang, bang play. Right. So I thought, man, Biggio played a hell of a game. 2 walks, 2 doubles, hell of a throw to get Acuna there, and people were shitting all over him 5 days ago.
That's right.
All over him. What did I say? Bojo. Oh, yeah. Gurriel with a sac fly. Teoscar's been just hitting the cover off the ball. Vladdy is killing it, and he's playing great defense. Jordan Romano closing it out in the 9th inning. And the Jays just 1.5 back of the Red Sox, and Mike even in the loss column. Even. We're 20-16. They're 23-16. Tonight, Jays begin a series with the Phillies in Philadelphia. The Phillies second in the National League East, 1.5 back of the Mets. Tonight, Southpaw Steven Matz, who I'm worried about. I think, the first 3 starts were, I think he surprised some people. I'm concerned about this dude, right? His temperament. So tonight's a big test for him. He needs to get back on the rails. We got to get at least 5 strong innings out of this guy. Like no more than 3 runs given up. And stop it with giving up the home runs, okay? His opponent on the mound is Vince Velasquez, a hard-throwing right-hander for the Phils. And this team is about as much fun to watch as the Leafs. Young, say, you know what I mean? There's Matthews, there's Marner, hey, there's Vladdy, there's Bo. You know what I'm saying? I can see all these guys hanging out together one day at a club in Toronto, right? Rooftop, patio, or whatever. And here we got all these young superstars. And we'll include the Raptors players as well and TFC players. Everybody under 30 that's going to be part of a championship. Wouldn't that be a great party?
Yeah, I can't wait till we can have any. At this point,
up to Austin Matthews going, you're not so good, man.
I was going to say, at this point, any party would be a good party. It's been a while. It's been a while.
You're right. I'm just thinking of a young athlete representing Toronto.
No, it's a good time to be a Toronto sports fan. I mean, we just came off the Raptors championship, and like you said, this Jays team and this Leafs team, both exciting to watch. So good times.
Yeah. Doesn't Vladdy look like a Gold Glove first baseman? Like I had said, I think on our last episode, I said, look, he needs a lot of reps, but he's got the potential because he's got a nice touch. If you played third base, you have some ability. It was the throw a lot of times, but to hit, but at the hot corner to grab a hot grounder and then worry about your throw across the diamond, it's so much easier for Vladdy. He doesn't have to worry about the throw. He just has to worry about fielding the ball and hitting, not about throwing. Don't worry about the throw, Vladdy. And so think about that, Mike. If you're the type of person that, you want to, everything's got to be exactly right. And someone says, no, you don't have to worry about this facet ever again.
Right.
Never again do you have to worry about making that throw, about fielding the ball and then getting up, planting your feet, throwing. Never. Just hit it and catch it.
Yeah. Honestly, it's been fun. Gary mentioned on your YouTube that I guess you saw that he was imitating the pitcher.
I love
he's got
that.
a good kind of sense of fun.
They're having
It was
so
good.
much fun.
Yeah, yeah.
And they all hang out at the one end of the dugout together. I can only imagine what they're saying. Goof, and also, like every day, somebody's getting water poured on them during the post-game interview.
Hey, Sinclair
I'm sure
Russell.
Hazel May is like, I'm so happy I'm not down there.
That's
Like,
right.
you know, I'd like you. I'm sure she.
Oh, she loved it because she sold a lot of dresses, I think, through that whole thing. Because that was her little line of dresses she'd be wearing, and I think she did quite well having that exposure. So I think she liked it.
Those dresses are very popular.
Sinclair Russell says, "What did you think about the relaxed comment after the game yesterday?"
I'm sorry, which one?
I don't know. Relaxed in quotes. I was hoping you'd know exactly what it meant, but because I'm not 100% sure. But he says, "What did you think about?" Oh, Bo Bichette. Bo Bichette made a relaxed comment after the game yesterday. Maybe Maybe I'll ask Sinclair to give us more. Give us more, Mr. Russell.
Relaxed. I'll tell you who should be really relaxed is this guy Alek Manoah, pitching for AAA Buffalo Trenton, and already, I mean, the guy's got like 7 innings of, what's he got? 12 innings in AAA. Like, all right, let's go. Because he's just been lights out. And I always said, if you're dominating at one level, and there's nothing more for you to prove, get up to the next level. Now, it's only been 2 games, but he has been lights out 2 games. Like, they can't touch this guy. So how long do you go before you bring him up and put him in the rotation? Are you setting him up to fail? Or here's what I think. I think you need this guy to pitch for a while and run into a problem. Maybe lose a game. Maybe get lit up for a home run, which is going to happen in his career, guaranteed. So let him fight back from some adversity in AAA before you bring him up. And then the first adversity he has to suffer is at the major league level, where there's a lot more pressure. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I think there's also something to be said about, like, don't waste your bullets in the minors. Like, you only have so many bullets in the chamber, so use them in the big leagues.
Okay. So let's say they give him 2 more starts and he's he's lights out. They can't tip this guy. He's throwing shutouts, BBs, ERA of 0 or 1. Okay, 2 more starts. So that's 4 starts and 4 lights out starts. You bring him up?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to see him. Look, I don't know how long I'd go. And I think if the Jays were desperate for starting pitching, I mean, desperate to stay in the race, I think the way things are going now, they may be able to take some time and say, you know what, Nate Pearson, you develop. Alek Manoah, develop. It's May the 14th. You're a game and a half. You're even in the loss column. Unless your starting pitching really falls apart. And it's looking decent now. Were you? Robbie Ray looks pretty darn good. Stripling looked good yesterday. Who am I missing?
Pregnant pause.
I was going to say Nate Pearson, but he's not with the team anymore. The guy we got, Matz. Steven Matz. We got
the guy you're worried about.
Yeah. Anyway. Major changes to minor league baseball. Remember I told you a while ago about they're going to move the mound in the, what's it called? The Cape Cod League or something. I forget the league now. They're going to move the mound back. They're going to try some things like that. Right. So there's a league called the Pioneer League up in northwestern United States up there. What are the teams? Hang on. Let's see. Oh, yeah. The Billings Mustangs, the Missoula Paddleheads, the Great Falls Voyageurs. Those are all in Montana. The Boise Hawks. The Idaho Falls Chuckers, the Ogden Raptors.
Oh,
let's go.
Good nickname
Raptors.
right there.
The Grand Junction Rockies and the Rocky Mountain Vibes. So you got Colorado, you got Utah, you got Idaho, and you got Montana.
Okay.
Anyway, that's the league. It's called the Pioneer League. And here's the rule changes. They're going to replace extra innings with a home run derby. Okay? No, you don't start a runner at second base.
Right.
Home run derby. Under the rule, each team designates a hitter who receives 5 pitches, with the game determined by the most home runs hit. If it's still tied after the first knockout round, another hitter is selected for another sudden death home run faceoff until a winner is declared. Quote, Michael Shapiro, the president of the Pioneer League, we wanted to do something that would be fun for fans while resolving games quickly. So we thought along the lines of hockey, or soccer shootouts?
You know what? It would be fun for fans. Like, I think, so long as,
Yes,
keep it in the regular season, obviously. That would be exciting to know, okay, Vladdy's coming up with a chance to knock out whatever. Like, it's kind of exciting.
I would agree that it's going to be the mid 21st century way to play baseball. Yes, I do. I think that, back in the old days, they kept playing until somebody won. There was once a game that was 29 innings. What, are you kidding me, Grandpa? These games are over in 2.5 hours now. Boom, somebody hits 6 home runs. Somebody hits 5. Boom, it's all over with. It's, none of, and think about it. Ever since hockey went to the 3-on-3 overtime and then the shootout, it's been exciting.
Yeah, but KM is on the YouTube page going, he goes, black. I hope I said it right, Kev. Blah. He says that's like a shootout. I don't think he's a fan of the shootout, and he doesn't like this idea of the home run.
Okay, hang on. This is Mr. Shapiro again. Quote, I've been in baseball my whole life and consider myself a traditionalist. But I think adding new elements can be a great thing as long as it doesn't destroy the essential nature of the game.
Right.
So your 9 innings, regular game, now, okay, it's tied. Nobody wants a tie. So is it really dealing the essential fabric of the game because it's not going extra innings? I don't know.
And again, the key here, I think, with all of us is that this stays in the regular season. Yeah, correct. Like don't have it touch because I don't like it when a World Cup final is determined by the shootout. It always bothers me.
The other experiment, the Pioneer League, will also have the designated pinch hitters and pinch runners, allowing players to be pinch hit or pinch run for before returning to their position for the rest of the game. So if you're the catcher and you're on second base, you're whacked, man. They bring in the pinch runner. You can leave, go to the dugout, put your equipment on, and then come back into the game.
I don't love that one.
Well, we'll see. They're going to try it.
Well, if you're going to do it in the Pioneer League. And on that note, Tyler Rogers wants you to know it was the hold on, let me get this right. The Atlantic League that moved the mound back.
The Atlantic League. Thank you. And now the Pioneer League. Thank you. Appreciate that, Tyler. In golf, Jordan Spieth shot a 9-under par 63 to take the first round lead at the Byron Nelson Classic. Top Canadian Michael Gligich from Burlington, Ontario, who I'm sure has played crosswinds before. He shot 7 under 65. Calgary's Roger Sloan shot 66. David Hearn from Brantford, Ontario, 2 under par 70. A lot of chatter amongst the PGA Tour with the guys from Ontario, especially going, what the hell's going on with you guys from Ontario? What do you mean you can't play golf in Ontario? Is that true? The only jurisdiction in the world that will not allow outdoor activities such as golf and tennis.
Bullshit.
And so they're all going like, what's going on up there, man?
Bullshit.
What the hell? Like, not only can you not go to games and you have to stay indoors and you're locked out, you can't even play golf. So all that chatter, they're all looking at Ontario going, what a place to live. Oy, how bad does this province look?
Well, sadly,
don't forget, folks, Crosswinds is our sponsor. We love them. When we get back to normal, go to crosswindsgolf.com, book your tee time. 2 more weeks, I'm going to say. 2 more tops, right?
They said June 2nd, maybe.
All right.
I mean, at this point, though,
we just want to eradicate this disease so that we, another couple of weeks and then hopefully never again.
Yeah, I think it's become a little political at this point because it's not based on any science that I've read, but okay.
Don't get me started. I'm playing pickleball this afternoon illegally. In tennis, Denis Shapovalov gave it his best shot, but lost in a third set tiebreaker to the greatest male clay court player in history, Rafa Nadal, in the third round of the Italian Open. Felix Auger-Aliassime, also beaten in his third round match. On the ladies' side, Bianca Andreescu has withdrawn from next week's tournament in Italy, still suffering from an unknown illness. Now, remember, she had to quarantine after coming from Spain, I think, and I can't remember the last time she played now.
This is so sad, because it looked like she made it to the finals of a tournament, right? Like she was on her way back, and then the COVID interruption and this unknown illness. Is that like lingering effects of COVID-19?
Don't know. I mean,
because I just was reading
quarantine and she's in Italy, so it's something else.
Because it's
COVID related. I don't know.
There's they're saying those who suffer from COVID-19 have a very good chance of neurological issues ongoing. Like,
don't even.
I know. I just was reading about that.
I heard that Gleyber Torres of the Yankees just tested positive for COVID-19. He's already had it, and he's been fully vaccinated. He's had it in December and fully vaccinated and got it again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the efficacy rate, we haven't even done that one with the variant. I won't go too deep, except that it's not 100% efficacy, but it should keep him out of the hospital, which is the guarantee. I'm thinking
that this guy, once he got his shot, like once he was fully vaccinated, he must have done something just like, hey, I'm fully vaccinated, kissing lampposts or something. Who knows?
Right. And again, to remind the listenership, these vaccinations are meant to keep you out of the hospital. They don't guarantee you won't get COVID. Hey,
there's no guarantees of anything.
Right. And since we're on the tennis here, Brian Gerstein just wants to say Felix completely collapsing against Debonis, a stiff.
Yeah.
I guess that's happening as we speak.
What do you expect? How consistent have these guys been this year? Not at all. Not at all.
And he's still young that we don't have to panic here. This is like a Vladdy Jr. situation.
Nobody panics in tennis anyway. Trust me. I can't remember anybody panicking. Oh my God, what's the matter?
I only pay attention to majors here, Hebsy. So.
Yeah, you've articulated that before.
I get my info
The
from
Raptors are not bowing out gracefully, Mike. They're not. They've got 2 games to go, and then they can all go home and dream about actually playing games in Toronto next year. Wipe this from their memories. I can't imagine how tough it's been for the players, the coaches, all the staff, not being in Toronto, not having a home. Even though they say, oh, yes, this is your home this year, it's just not the same. And you got to go out and play high-level basketball, too. Come on. Stanley Johnson had 35 points in the loss to the Bulls last night as 7 regulars did not play. Just seeing Kyle Lowry, apparently healthy but rested, is a real sad kind of way to end things, and it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And the Raptors, now that they're out of it, have about a 7.5% chance of getting the top lottery pick in the draft. But 7.5% based on their record. If they lose their last 2, might be 9.5%.
Right.
But if the other teams lose their games to tank, then they're going to be 12.5%. It's a whole clusterfuck. So I think they need to trade Kyle Lowry, do a signing trade with this guy, get him out. It was great. It was nice to think that he would end his career with Toronto and would raise his banner to the Raptors and have a statue and all that stuff. But it's not going to be. It's just not.
Well, you got
to go with Van Vliet. You got to go with
OG,
Malachi Flynn, Boucher, Siakam, OG. You got to go with those guys. That's your core. Lowry's not part of that core now.
Okay, but I would just remind you of that wonderful moment, you and I on the lakeshore, the Raptor parade going by. That was less than 2 years ago. Less than 2 years ago.
It's business, Mike. And if you thought when we watched that parade, oh, he's going to be here forever, then I'm sorry, but I
didn't care. Delusional. I'll be honest.
You were delusional. At that time, I was the same.
Yeah.
No Kawhi. Lowry, listen, you have to break up the great teams, but this team being dismantled this quickly. Okay, we knew about Kawhi, Serge gone, Gasol gone, Lowry's going to go.
Wasn't a young core, though. Like, I feel like this is...
Danny Green, he was gone.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's okay.
That whole squad basically is done. Done in.
But we have the memories less than 2 years old.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Major U.S. sports leagues lost $13 billion in revenue during the pandemic. But that didn't stop the world's top athletes from earning historic sums of money. Forbes magazine, which I've had a subscription to since 1979, has these calculations for 2020. This includes endorsement deals, business ventures, and salaries. Number 1 earner in sports, Mike. Number 1. Conor McGregor, $180 million,
right.
Primarily not from UFC contests, but from the sale of his whiskey brand, Proper Number 12. $180 million in 2020.
Wow. Well, I mean, that's why. That's like, I think I read before. Oh, Dr. Dre was the richest rapper, and it's because he sold Beats to Apple for like $1 billion or something.
But still, so we're talking about full value. This is Forbes magazine. Okay, so number 2 is not even close. Like, this is like a Gretzky-esque number, $180 million. Next is Lionel Messi,
of course,
the soccer star for Barcelona, $130 million.
Wow.
Cristiano Ronaldo, Juventus, 120 mil. Dak Prescott, quarterback, Dallas Cowboys, 107.5 million.
Wow, that's surprising.
LeBron, 96.5.
Okay.
Yeah, but Dak Prescott's got, it's not just salary, it's endorsements too. He got a good
I
salary.
know, but I don't
He's
think
got-
I would have.
he's-
Maybe I haven't paid attention. I don't think I would have guessed him as the
Well, no,
richest.
because you haven't been paying attention.
You're right. Okay.
But that's what I'm here for, Mike.
I know.
I'm here to illuminate, to educate you.
Wow.
I don't expect you to be, saying, "Oh, Dak Prescott's got to be in the top 5." This is what I'm telling you.
LeBron James, of
this would
course,
be a good list.
made that big salary from Warner Brothers because he's in the upcoming film.
So LeBron's only worth 196.5 million, which is, that's 5th overall. Neymar from Paris Saint-Germain, 95 million. Roger Federer,
Whoa,
didn't even play this last year.
Wow,
90 million. Lewis Hamilton, the F1 champion.
There you go.
7-time champion.
Yeah.
Drives for Mercedes, always on the pole. Like every freaking week he's on the pole. 82 million. Tom Brady, 76 million. And Kevin Durant, 75 million.
That's a fun list.
It's good. Eh? I got one more list here for you.
Okay.
Because the playoffs are beginning. Playoffs? Can you tell me what NHL team has been in the playoffs the most consecutive seasons?
Honestly, it would take so long for me to think on this one.
One team. There's only one team it can be.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah. 15 consecutive years in the National Hockey League. In the MLS, it's the Seattle Sounders, 12 straight years. I did not know that. Major League Baseball, the Dodgers.
Okay.
8 years in a row they've been in the playoffs.
Wow.
NBA, who do you think in the NBA?
Oh, goodness gracious. I don't know.
7 consecutive seasons in the playoffs. What team?
Milwaukee.
Norm Powell's new team, the Portland Trailblazers.
All right.
How about that, eh? Because the Raptors aren't in.
Surprising that it's only, not a very high
It
number.
is surprising, isn't it, that 7 straight years? That's how tough the NBA is. And the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs have 6 consecutive years being in the playoffs. And the longest active playoff droughts, Major League Baseball. What team has gone 19 years without being in the playoffs?
Oh, I know this. This is the Mariners.
Correct. Seattle Mariners, 19 years. In the NBA, the Sacramento Kings, 15 straight years not making the playoffs. 15 straight years. In the NHL, of course, it's the...
Oh,
Mike.
I know. I'm sure. I don't know. Tell me. So I don't.
La Fontaine!
Okay.
Buffalo
Sabres.
have gone
Right.
10 years in a row without making the playoffs. And the New York Jets in the NFL, an entire decade without making the playoffs.
Wow.
And in MLS, it's the Vancouver Whitecaps, Chicago Fire, and the Dynamo. Oh, where are the Dynamo from? I don't even know what city that is.
Moscow.
I should know
I think.
this. No. But in the NFL,
No, I know.
I mean, I'm
I'm
not a
joking.
huge MLS fan, but Dynamo. Who are the Dynamo? Anyway. Okay, final thing. Preakness is tomorrow.
Yes.
And even though the horse was doped and they suspended Bob Baffert for the umpteenth time, he's got 3 horses entered this weekend. I don't know how he's allowed to. Well, he's allowed to because they're putting strict doping measures in place. Like each of his horses have to be tested like 5 times in the 24 hours prior to the Preakness Stakes. And this is for Medina Spirit. Is it Medina Spirit?
Yeah, that's
Funky Cold Medina Spirit.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
let's do
So
it.
it's Medina Spirit who won the Preakness or won the Kentucky Derby and then was disqualified 2 days later.
Right.
So anybody that had bet on Medina Spirit got paid out. So like 2 days later, when the horse was disqualified, these people aren't giving their money back. You
Right.
can't go back.
Right.
Which means if you bet the horse that finished second, which I think of the Mandalorian, is that the one? Yeah.
I think
Anyway,
so.
if you had a winning ticket on that horse, you didn't cash in. And then 2 days later, you found out that your horse was made first place. You got your ticket. You still can't cash it, buddy. Sorry. So we changed the order of finish. It's like if you would have bet on Ben Johnson in the 100 meters in Seoul.
Right.
And as soon as he crossed the finish line, yeah, baby, you collect and you're partying. And then the next day, your buddy goes, hey, you gotta give me that money back. You didn't win.
Right.
Sorry, you crossed the finish line first. There was nothing in our bet that says if he gets disqualified for drugs that I give you your money back.
So my question to you, sports fanatic, is this the first time the winner of the Kentucky Derby had been disqualified?
This is the second time.
Oh.
So the first time, and here's how the story comes along, was a horse named Dancer's Image, trained out of Woodbine by a fellow named Lou Cavaleris Jr., who, an Etobicoke resident, as a matter of fact, and in the Canadian Racing Hall of Fame. He ended up, besides being a tremendous trainer in the 60s and 70s, he became the racing secretary at Woodbine for about a decade. I knew him. But my grandfather knew him really well. My grandfather used to have a store called Del Evans Variety on Evans Avenue, Mike.
Oh, wow. Evans and what? Do you remember?
Evans and Alpha.
Oh,
that's
yes.
between Omega and, you know where that is?
Yeah, yes, I do, because it's very close to
so
East Mall, I believe is right
so
there.
it's between Browns Line and East Mall, right?
Yes, I know it well.
Okay. So anyway, he had a store there for many years, a variety store. And he knew a lot of the horsemen. He knew them because he used to have a store years ago out near Greenwood Racetrack. And then this place here isn't far from Woodbine. You know what I mean? Evans Avenue, if you live in Etobicoke, you might be driving by his store on your way up, the 427.
Exactly.
If they had it built then, or probably Highway 27.
Exactly.
Anyway. Oh, he knew, my grandfather knew, and he was a real horseman. My grandfather loved the horses. And probably never told anybody how much money he used to bet until he was retired from that. But he told me, how he used to bet the horses and knew all the horsemen and would get tips every so often. Yeah, so-and-so's running well, stuff like that. So anyway, long story short, I'm 11 years old and he takes me to the racetrack. First of all, because I loved horses. Second, I liked riding horses. I went to riding school. I eventually became a riding instructor. I taught kids how to ride Western. But anyway, so he would take me to the back stalls, the barns, in behind Greenwood Racetrack or Woodbine, and he knew some of the trainers, and they'd say, "Come by and come see the horses run," that type of a thing. And he even put me on one of his horses called Mark Antony. This was Lou Cavaleris.
Okay.
Just to sit up on, how's the weather up there, that kind of a thing. I was like 11 years old. Anyway, he tells us about this horse, Dancer's Image, that he's got. It's a 2-year-old, looking pretty good, might be worth a bet. And so my grandfather bets the horse, and I'm watching. It's a stakes race, and the horse wins for fun. And he wins. And a couple of weeks later, he goes, "Come on, we're going to go to the track." And I remember because my parents would say, like, "Sure, go spend some time with your grandfather. We don't want you hanging around the house. We see you all the time. Off you go. Go." And my grandfather was like, "I'm taking him to the track." Well, fine, my parents, fine. Keep an eye on him. So I love the horses too. And we go back a few weeks later for another stakes race, like the Venture Stakes or the Gray Stakes, something like that. And this horse, Native Dancer, wins again and was a very successful 2-year-old horse. And then the following year is entered in the Kentucky Derby as a 3-year-old, a well-raced 3-year-old. And so my grandfather says, well, Dancer's Image is out. And apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, that Cavaleris or somebody in the barn, or he knew, had talked to somebody the week before, and they said, yeah, the horse looks good, and we're going to give it a good chance, and maybe wager a few bucks on the horse in the Kentucky Derby.
Sure.
P.S. The horse wins.
Right.
And my grandfather collects big.
Woo!
Big. And a couple days later, they announced that the horse tested positive for bute, which is the butylazone or something. It's now legal, and in fact, a few weeks after that happened, it was legalized, and it's used all the time now for horses in training. But at the time, the horse could not have a trace of that in Kentucky. It was that's just sort of a Kentucky thing,
right? No
traces of this bute. So a couple days later, they do tests, and they didn't test every horse in the race. They tested the winner and one other random horse, and the winner comes positive.
Right.
And they disqualify the horse. They hold the money, the purse money in escrow, because now there's going to be an appeal. It's going to go to court. It was a whole story like that. Cavaleris, the trainer, had no knowledge of this drug being put into the horse's feed. No knowledge at all.
Right.
Still a mystery. Huh. And my grandfather, I remember him going, well, they're not going to get my money back.
Right.
The winning horse's name was Forward Pass. The horse that would finish second and was advanced to first place because the other was disqualified. So now Forward Pass is going to the Preakness, and so too is Dancer's Image. Even though it was disqualified from the Kentucky Derby, it's allowed to race in the Preakness.
Because it's not
and
in
it
Kentucky.
Gets disqualified in the Preakness. For drugs.
Okay.
But because the jockey Ostrey tried to squeeze the horse between two other horses,
Right.
and he bumped a couple of horses, and he got disqualified. He didn't win.
Right.
I think he finished second or third, but he got disqualified.
Wow.
So now gets disqualified for drugs in the Kentucky Derby, gets disqualified for bumping other horses in the Preakness. Okay, and my grandfather's like, he's like, boy, did I pick the right horse? Because you imagine if you would have bet forward pass and the horse finished second,
Right.
and you found out a couple days later that the other horse was drugged and your horse should have won.
Hey, there's a common theme to today's episode of Hebsy on Sports. It's Etobicoke and drugs.
Well summed up. So that's my story. And listen, if Medina Spirit wins the Preakness tomorrow, now you've got some kind of story, because Baffert's allowed to train the horse, should have been suspended. Right. Horse racing's a dirty business.
You got it.
Okay, I guess that'll do it for episode 232 of Hebsy on Sports. Hope you enjoyed the show. Special thanks to Toronto Mike for production and inspiration. Check out his excellent Toronto Mike podcast. Always interesting guests. And also a big thank you to Crosswinds Golf and Country Club in Burlington. Oh, we feel for you guys. We know you want to open up the golf course. It's so beautiful there. Oh, those views are going to such waste, but hang in there. Not much longer. The Ford government, they're gonna cave. They're going to let us play golf. And when they do, everyone's going to go to crosswindsgolf.com, check out what they've got to offer, book tee time online, and be out there playing on that beautiful golf course. It's going to happen soon. Thanks for allowing us into your headspace. Hey, tell your friends about the show. We're getting lots more listeners, to this podcast. I'm very happy with the way things are growing, the audience. So, don't keep it a secret. Maybe I'll be able to wet my whistle one day. Maybe we'll have more sponsors. Who knows? Anyway, back with another episode next week. Until then, so long for now. This podcast has been produced by TMDS and accelerated by Roam Phone. Roam Phone brings you the most reliable virtual phone service to run your business and protect your home number from unwanted calls. Visit roamphone.ca to get started.
Awesome. Guess who I'm talking to in, half an hour?
I don't know.
You won't guess. I should tell you. Maestro Fresh West.
Nice.
He's
awesome, man.
He's a New Brunswick guy now.
Cool.
Yeah, I got to talk to him about that. But
that's pretty neat. Excellent.
All right, good stuff. Yeah.
Okay, brother. Thank
great
you.
show, buddy. And see you later. Let me get this online before the Maestro shows up here. But good stuff, bud.
Beautiful. I'm going to get ready to play pickleball.
Okay, I'm just trying, because there was a question because Penguins do have the longest streak. I'm just reading all-time consecutive. Oh, the all-time. Okay, because there's a gentleman named Daniel.
Active.
Yeah, active. Right. Of course. Okay, cool.
Right, man.
Let me turn off the feed. Peace and love. Bye.
Cheers.